Nice meeting you.
This is for you, a little presentation.
Will it be dancing through the door? Rick Caruso bringing that heat, bobbing his head and tapping his feet. From LADWP to building the best properties, dancing at the Americana, Rosewood, Miramar. Do you wanna cha-cha with me by the sea? Raising that roof with Howie. Will he dance? Will he dance?
No.
Will he dance?
No.
Will he be dancing through the door?
No.
Thank you. Yeah.
We love you anyway.
That was amazing. Could you do that like every morning when I wake up and go downstairs?
Absolutely, for very small feet.
That was it.
All right, watch yourself. Watch your step, buddy. You're in the orange chair. All right, watch your step. Watch your step, buddy. You're in the orange chair.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Did you dance?
No.
Oh, I didn't dance.
No.
What?
God, I know.
You're
I
like
should've
one
danced.
of the three that didn't dance.
Today.
Well, that's good though. That's
Today.
good. That means
You
he
stand
stands
out. You
out.
stand
that's
out.
Right.
He's unique, he's special, and I think so. We are lucky enough today to have Rick Caruso. This is my daughter, Jackie, by the way. I
Hi,
think
we've
you've
met before.
We met
You
before,
wouldn't
but it's been a long
remember.
time.
It has,
Yeah.
yeah.
Great seeing you.
I know.
I think we met
Oh, her.
and mobbed.
Pardon me? Yeah, we
met
did. We met on Mobbed. I
Oh
like to
my
call
God,
you.
that was great.
It was. Do you mind if I call you Governor?
You can call me whatever you want.
Thank you. I believe in manifesting.
Okay.
Manifesting, and
right.
this is we were going to talk. I'm going to talk about all the great work you're doing with the fire and what's happening in LA. But I also want to include everybody nationally and internationally that watches you, because I have a little prediction. I'm not asking you to.
I want to hear your prediction.
That one day you're going to be our president.
Wow. Okay.
Do you
And-
have the same prediction?
I don't honestly. I don't think about that.
You don't.
See, that's not a no. So therefore, I am
No,
right.
I tell you why I don't think about that, because I've sort of lived my life where I end up where I end up. You
I
know,
love
things
that.
just sort of happen, right? I know like what I want to
There's
do.
a little bit of planning that goes into
Oh,
that,
of course,
though.
there's a lot of planning that goes into it, but you sort of also have to be willing to end up wherever the world takes you.
Well, I'm telling you, the world is going to take you as the leader of the greatest power in the world,
Okay.
and I
I'm
think
honored by that.
you shouldn't be honored. You should. It's well deserved. I don't know you that well, but I love you because my interactions with you have been very inspiring, and just I'm going to start by just. I first met him. I did a show on Fox called Mobbed.
Yep.
And Mobbed was a show where, when flash mobs were very big, where we would surprise somebody with something and give them that message in a flash mob. And here in the Los Angeles area, one of the most successful philanthropists, businessman, business owner is Rick Caruso. And I went to you, not knowing you at the time, and I said, I want to surprise somebody with something. You have this huge corporation. You're dealing with hundreds, if not thousands of people daily. Is there somebody that you'd like to surprise? And this was not our idea. This was not produced. He had hired a young man who, before he was hired, was homeless.
Yeah.
And he had hired this young man, and not only had he hired this young man, so this man, he came to work with you as a concierge on one of your properties, but this is what blew me away. You were, with all these employees, you were aware of who he was, what kind of person he was like, and without hesitation said, there's this one kid
Anthony.
he still remembers his name. And this
Oh,
is
great
this
guy.
is probably 10 years ago. There's this one guy who I would like to just give him more. This is one of the most deserving young people in my company, and I just want to reward him. And you showed me a side of you that was, I wish more people had, of humanity
thank you.
and building up not only community, but building up humanity. And it was one of the most beautiful. I put a couple of clips together just so that they could see who you are. But you helped me design. This is how we did it. It's like a surprise party.
It was so good.
It was so good.
It was
So
good.
Rick told me that one of his loves are cars, and I think everybody who knows Rick and works with Rick knows that he loves cars. So we came up with this plan where he would be at one of his properties, and he would call this employee to deliver a car that was incredibly special.
Right.
That you said was special.
Right. I think it's the first date I took my wife in,
You
and
remember?
I proposed to her. Yeah, remember that we had that whole spiel going.
But it was
whole
beautiful.
set, yeah.
Like, and he told this employee, "This is the first car, and I've been searching for it for 5 years. Deliver it to me." So this is the guy delivers the car, and we had set this up. And I'm going to tell you right off the bat, it's not
Because I want to surprise my wife.
because I want to surprise my wife.
Yeah.
So what's the first one we have? When he parks the car, this kid Anthony delivers the car, and this
Yeah.
is what we did to the car. This is
yeah.
at the
Oh, my God.
Americana in Glendale.
Yeah.
So this is what we did to the car. He parks the car.
Okay,
Right here.
is it right? This is
Yeah,
the car?
Yeah.
Come here.
Turn the
Let me
lights
just
off.
see. So, hold on. This car right here?
Yeah.
Okay, my problem... Yeah, there's no parking here.
3, 2, 1, do it. Watch out!
The poor guy.
The poor guy. So now you can't imagine this employee is delivering this prized car. This happens, and then the next thing he has to do is he has to go sit with you.
Right. Right.
This is, I just want this to me, this is probably one of my favorite episodes ever. He sits down with Rick and watch Rick interact with this young man. Watch this. This is hysterical.
When we first got married, it took me 5 years to find that car.
That one?
That one.
Is that the same?
Rick hasn't seen it
She
yet.
hasn't seen it in about 20 years. So tonight she's here. She's doing a little shopping. I sort of sent her off. And then now I'm going to take her around there and surprise her and just say, can you believe we found this car? Because she was so in love with it. It's just going to be an awesome night. How did it drive?
Drove well. It drove well.
Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, I knew that you would just protect it, get it out here. Now we're all good to go. I'm so excited about it. Are you excited? Because you could be like in the distance and see when she sees it. It's going to be a
That's
blast.
gonna be yeah.
This poor guy.
This poor guy. Okay, you can stop that thing. So he tells him, he sets this up, and then we go. But this is the beauty. I think this is the beauty of this kind of show. If you love somebody and you care about somebody, you throw them a surprise party. In order for them to be surprised, you got to pull. It's like pulling the rope back on an arrow. The further you pull it, the harder you can shoot. This kid is so surprised. He takes you around, and then there was a flash mob. I'll just show you the beginning of the flash mob, but then the beauty of you comes forth right after this.
You wreck your boss's car, homie? Hey, you wreck your boss's car, bro?
Hey, bro, man, don't talk to me like this right now.
You wreck his car, bro?
Yes. Vic
Don't
wrecked the car.
worry, hey, about a thing.
Here we go. Look at
Cue drive! Cue the drive!
So great. Oh my God.
He has no idea what's going on.
Look at him. He doesn't know where to look.
That was so fun. It was
Isn't
emotional.
that great?
Yeah.
He starts to cry. Okay, we don't have to show that whole thing, and this is where
Such a great
this
guy.
is where your heart comes in, and I want to share this with the world who's ever listening and watching this. You surprised them. You found out. I didn't know this.
Yeah.
You found out that not only was he homeless, he left home. He hadn't seen his parents in 5
Yeah,
years. His
that's
parents
right.
were living in the islands in the Bahamas. You flew his parents in. He hadn't seen his parents for 5 years. They didn't know, as far as they were concerned, that he was still homeless. You reunited him with his parents. Watch this.
Yeah. You're a terrific guy, a terrific man, a terrific employee. But there's two people that are extra special to you, and I know how special they are. And I want you to turn around.
You're tearing up. Isn't that beautiful? That is so beautiful. And I'm not going to...
Such a great moment.
Well,
Yeah.
not a great moment, but here, the great moment comes from you, buddy, because... I'm not going to go through the whole episode. You're tearing up.
I know.
It was beautiful because you gave him a raise. You upped his position.
Yeah.
He became an executive. He reunited with his parents. You made that life better than it would ever be had he not met you.
No, thanks.
And by the same token, I feel you do the same thing here in LA for anybody that works for you or lives in a community where you are building something. Your properties are amazing, and watching you right now dealing with everybody knows we had a huge fire. You lost a house too, right?
My daughter lost a house. Tina and I lost a house. My son lost a house. Yeah.
And you're doing amazing things. You have this community outreach called Steadfast.
Steadfast LA, right.
Which is what he's been able to do is he's taking where people lost their houses. He takes like, they're not mobile homes. Where are they?
Well, we're doing a couple of different things. I formed it's a nonprofit. And we asked a bunch of people who are like the best in their industries to lend their time and their talent. And then we're a roll up your sleeves. Here's an issue, here's a problem, let's go solve it for the city or the county or the state. And one of the problems is getting people back on their property quickly, especially people very moderate income who maybe had no insurance. And so, great company called Samara and their founder donated $15 million. We're going to raise $15 million with them, so we'll have $30 million. And that will be the first 100 homes we give away to people.
Give.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Who gives homes?
Howie Mandel here. Ever feel like your food tastes as bland as like a hospital hallway? Like you could use a defibrillator to shock some life into it? Well, my friends, say goodbye to culinary boredom and hello to Flavor for All. They've got these awesome little tins packed with flavor. No fillers, no MSG, no gluten, just pure deliciousness. We're talking Dilly-O for a fresh twist, the Biz for a zesty lemon pepper punch, and more. Use code Howie15 at checkout for 15% off your entire order at flavorforall.com.
You've always stood with the community, and you've always kind of highlighted what some of the issues that I guess people don't highlight, like the thing about when you think about the shopping centers. These communities that burn down around shopping centers, they are, these shopping centers have waiters and workers and employees. And if the community's gone, then these people are out of jobs.
That's right.
Yeah, that seems to be a big, and specifically, not specifically, but I was just in Malibu this week. And if you don't live in LA, Pacific Palisades and Malibu is all connected along the 101.
The PCH.
Yeah, the Pacific Coast Highway. What can be done? I feel like incredible frustration because that artery is still closed.
Yeah.
And so people can't, 99% of these businesses, which were not burned, which can remain open, whether the restaurants and clothing stores, they can't even get to it. What can we do?
You know, the frustrating part with all of this is I live my life with a couple of simple mottos. And one is, and my kids have heard this since the day they were born, there's a solution for every problem. It may not be the solution that you're looking for, but there's a solution and you got to work towards that. So right now what's happening on Pacific Coast Highway and also on Sunset getting into the Palisades is they're physically stopping each car and checking driver's license.
Why?
I mean, well, they don't, originally it's because they don't want to have people come in and looting the place or whatever the case is. But the reality is, use technology. So I called the lady that founded Clear. Everybody's used Clear to go to a concert, to go through the airport.
What is Clear?
Clear is an app that goes onto your phone and automatically gives you the pass in order to get into a concert or to get cleared through the airport. You're pre-approved to go through security and whatnot. So I called her and I said, and she's a very successful company, she's in New York. I said, would you develop an app for the city and the county so people on their phones can go up to a guard, whoever along PCH, show their phone and they're in. It will take a nanosecond versus traffic being backed up for 2 hours. And she said, absolutely, we'll donate that. That's what Steadfast is doing. Steadfast is reaching out to people who are super talented and super smart, that are innovative, have a sense of urgency, and everything we're doing is about getting people back into their homes quicker and safely, and supporting these small businesses. So if you want to regulate people coming in and out for a little bit longer, I don't think it should last a long time, fine. but use technology to take away the friction and allow people to go shopping. Because I was in Malibu last week also, and these retailers
Are dying.
and restaurateurs are dying.
Yeah.
They're down 70%.
But looting is not an issue anymore, is it?
You know, maybe it is, but I don't think you solve the looting issue by stopping the the good people from going into the community and supporting businesses, right? That just doesn't make sense to me. So I've given this idea to the city, and hopefully they'll adopt it. And there's a whole bunch of things we're doing like that. But it's been frustrating because the city and the county, you know, they're governments, and they operate on a different sort of energy level.
And that's why we need you in government.
Well,
You know,
I tried.
I know you tried,
Yeah.
and I think that, and I'm speaking as, I think as one of many, people are sorry that they made the mistake, you know, of not seeing clearly, because I don't even think this fire would have been as devastating had you been there, because there are so many things that we're aware of now that we weren't aware of.
Yeah,
After.
a massive amount of failures that happen.
And I look at all these failures that happen in LA as business failures. You know, I get it. I'm not talking politics, but I am saying that I kind of get that people voted for our administration. They don't like the way government is run. Right. And people aren't happy with government. And they see successful business and say, oh, you know what? Maybe that's the change we need. I don't doubt that it's being handled the way he handles business, but I know even, you know, Trump handled his business with turmoil.
Yeah.
You know, that's how he handled it, and that's how the administration is. I'm not making a judgment call. I'm just saying it's different. Watching you do business like everybody, from the concierge kid who is a homeless kid who can't, and not, I talked to him before he knew that this was happening to him. That kid loved you. That kid knew you. That kid thought of you as a second father. When you have somebody in kind of a different status than even management, and they kind of know who you are as a human being, that speaks so much to what our country needs, you know? And I feel like everybody who is in a Caruso property is taken care of equally, you know?
That's certainly the way we like to operate. That's our culture.
So would you also, which I thought was great, I'm just talking to you because I want you to be our governor and I want you to be our president, and I'm not asking as many questions as I should be asking. But
You're doing a lot of talking.
Okay, do you want
He's so good at it.
Go on, keep going.
No, but
he's very passionate about it.
I am passionate. That's why I wanted to
I
talk
love
to
it.
you,
I'm
and I don't
honored by
know. You should be. I'm
am
honored
honored by
that you
it.
would even show up on this goofy
Of
little
course.
thing to talk to me.
I actually count you, and you know this, I count you as a dear friend, and I admire you. So being invited here was an honor for me. How would I ever say no?
Well, you're busy. You're busier than I am.
But no, busy is a relative word.
Listen, he's my dad, and I say no to him all the time.
Well,
so.
you have permission to do
Yeah.
that.
No,
you
she
should
doesn't.
have.
What can people do right now
Yeah.
to make things better and easier? What do you have any advice for?
You know, I think the most basic thing people need to do is vote. And we've got a real problem locally and in the country that so many people don't vote. And I think a lot of it, and I saw it in my campaign, there's a certain level of apathy. People feel that government's not going to change their lives for the better or don't represent them. There's so many people around our city and our state that feel unheard and not listened to. One of the things I really enjoyed about the campaign, and I love running for mayor, I didn't like the way it ended, but I loved running for mayor, is just being out with people and being in neighborhoods that people have forgotten and listening to them. And, you know, you've met my wife and my kids, and I was very concerned about when I ran for mayor, their safety, you know, how it would impact the family, because like you, we have a very, very close family. And what was amazing is we even got closer because of that experience. And the experience was being out in the streets, in the neighborhoods, meeting people. And I would tell the kids, you know, we'd hug people, we're huggers. And some people would start to cry. And I said, that crying is hope. And how lucky are we that we can be out here giving people hope that somebody is listening to them. And so I think we need to vote for people who are competent and compassionate and get rid of the politics because good decisions will happen if you've got somebody that's competent and compassionate.
Like even here in the LAUSD, this is a teacher right here. I don't understand.
Great profession.
It is, and
Thanks.
not appreciated a fraction of what it needs to
Yeah.
be, financially or even with our minds and hearts.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But that being said, she was also a teacher in the inner city. So
That's
my
great.
kids, she went to school in LAUSD. We live in a affluent area.
No, I went to school in LVUSD. I taught in LAUSD.
Oh, okay.
In a different school district.
But in that district,
in a
like-
public school district.
Yeah.
though.
Yes, but
Yeah.
in Woodland Hills and things like that, those schools are far different than the schools downtown.
Where
And
I
that's
taught.
because a portion of the taxes
Our
of
property taxes.
property taxes goes to the school in that community, whereas it just seems like good business that whatever goes into the pot should be distributed evenly
Yeah.
in the district, not because you have a nice house, you have a nice school next to you.
That's right.
They
I agree with that.
But why does that not happen?
It doesn't happen because the leaders on the board of the school district don't make it happen. It's a very frustrating thing to me. We are very active as a family with schools down in Watts. And so if you know the Watts area of Los Angeles, there's a great high school down there called Verbum Day. It's a Jesuit school.
Do you know it?
I know what this is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's on Central Avenue. It is literally right next to one of the projects where people are living at or below the poverty line. Right down the street is a public school. Verbum Day graduates 100% of their students, and 100% of their students go on to a junior or full-time college. How about that?
Why?
Down the street, I think the public school is graduating maybe 30%, and less than that are going off to college.
What is Verbum doing that we're not?
They are engaging the students. They're requiring them to actually work, study, learn. The teachers are very engaged with them. They have to wear uniforms coming to school. There's rules around it. I don't know all that happens, but we support a number of the Catholic school systems in South LA. They have incredible track records, but you have to hold people accountable. And so the leaderships of these schools, you have to say to them, because I think the teachers work incredibly hard. I don't think the leadership of the school districts are making these schools a priority the way they need to be made.
They're also investing in their own classrooms. She bought.
Because they don't have enough money.
Pencils. They don't have, but for a pencil.
It's ridiculous.
It is
We've got
ridiculous.
one of the wealthiest cities in the world, and we should have the best school system in the world.
Howie Mandel here. Let's face it, most bedding is like a bad joke. It promises comfort, but delivers wrinkles, frizz, and a face that screams, I need a vacation. But Fisher's Finery, they use luxurious, high-quality fabrics that are like a spa day for your skin and your hair. Their silk pillowcases are made with 100% pure mulberry silk. It's so smooth. For a limited time, use code Howie20 for 20% off at fishersfinery.com. Ooh, I just want to lie down. I just want to lie down.
And we don't.
Another big problem, and it's not only here in LA, but it is pretty prevalent here in LA, and it's, I think, prevalent nationally, is homelessness.
Yes.
You campaigned on saying you were going to do a lot.
Yeah.
So did Karen Bass, said she was going to do a lot. I don't see a difference.
Yeah, it's only gotten worse. They're claiming it's gotten better, but it hasn't gotten better.
No, it hasn't.
Yeah.
So how do you combat this? What is your game plan for even, I think it's mental health, but.
Well, you have mental health issues on the street, you have drug addiction on the street, and you have
Same
people
thing,
that are
basically. Mental health and drug addiction.
That's true. It's intertwined. And you also have people that are just down and out, for a variety of reasons. And we're going to have more of that.
Isn't the biggest growing population of homelessness seniors?
Seniors and families.
Yeah.
Which is really sad. So now you have more and more kids living on Skid Row and living on the streets. You don't need any of that. When you go to some of these organizations that I got to know during the campaign, Union Rescue Mission, the People's Concern, Downtown Women's Center, they bring people in, they give them the services that they need, the drug addiction, the mental health support, retraining, support for a job. They have a 90% success rate. Why is the city of Los Angeles and the county spending and wasting billions of dollars, and now we know there was a whole bunch of fraud, The Department of Justice is now investigating the city and the county for the billions of dollars that have gone somewhere. But why aren't we supporting the organizations that have a track record of success and funding them and having them expand? Their doors are full. And then when they want to build more housing, it's taking 6 years to build in the city of Los Angeles, which is ridiculous.
You think that's because of regulations?
It's
that are in place?
overregulated.
Everything's overregulated.
Everything's
here.
overregulated.
That's why we don't have the train too that we were or the speed, the whatever it's called.
High-speed line.
Yeah.
But that's why you don't have housing being built in Los Angeles. It's so overregulated that people are taking their dollars and they're going somewhere else to build. We're not attracting business in Los Angeles.
No,
not
we're throwing it
attracting
out.
jobs.
We're throwing it out.
We're throwing it out.
In fact, speaking of that, our one of our main industries, there's tourism and there's also the tech is big in California, but show business. As somebody in show business, there is so much more done outside of California. And they've never, even when Schwarzenegger was in government, his campaign was to lower or to give great tax breaks or bring those back.
Mm-hmm.
How come we can't? What is the fight against that?
You have to ask the legislature. I don't understand it. I really don't.
But as somebody who might end up there, how do you
go be competitive with every place that's taking our talent away to. New Jersey's taking our talent. Georgia's taking our talent. The amount of production in Atlanta, as you know, is huge, right? So you go be competitive. You do no different than you would do in any other business. And I would tell you, you tell me, you're in that business, you'd rather work close to home than go be working out of a hotel and being away from your family. So people want to stay in Los Angeles. And this is the best place. This is the entertainment capital of the world, and we're destroying it little by little. And the city's not doing anything to keep people here either.
No.
So we've got a double whammy between the state and the city. That's right.
But I don't understand it. I don't understand because
they don't understand business. They don't understand how to create jobs. The people that get elected, I've said this for years, you need to elect people that know how to sign the front of a check, not only the back of a check. If you've spent your whole life signing the back of a check and have never had to create a job, manage people, understand a budget, how can you run a complex state like California or a complex city like Los Angeles? So now at the state level, we have a $70 billion budget, plus or minus. At the city level, we have a budget deficit. At the city level, we have a $1 billion budget deficit. How do you miss your budget by $1 billion? And on top of it, what the controller has said, or the city controller, is that revenues are down in the city, which is, to your point, businesses are leaving.
Right.
So you've got this double whammy hitting. More debt, more expenses, less revenue.
So how do you feel about what Elon's doing nationally?
Well, I think going in and getting waste out of any, whether it's government or business, you got to do. You just got to do it. I think you have to also do it with a level of compassion and dignity, especially when you're cutting jobs. I don't think any CEO enjoys cutting jobs. There's times when you have to, right? Depending on economics, business cycles, whatever the case is. But I've always done it when I've had to do it, and it's never been easy. You do it with great fairness and dignity, and you make sure people get a job and give the services to get rehired somewhere. But I think you've got to cut out waste. You have so much waste in the city of LA, and we have so much waste in California. We're funding things that we just don't need to be funding.
But even when we fund them, you were talking about this, like specifically the homeless area, there have been billions of dollars given, and they can't account for where that's gone. How does that happen?
Because you have incompetent people, and maybe you have some crooked people too. I mean, we have a history in the city of Los Angeles with council people going to jail and being indicted, right? I think we had 3 or 4 going to jail and being indicted. We had a city attorney that was investigated. I mean, it was ridiculous what was going on. So you have a culture. It starts with a culture problem. And the culture has to be integrity, it has to be competence, it has to be honesty, but you've got to surround yourself with people that know what they're doing and then are honest about it. That's the only way you're going to deal with problems. But I would bet, if I was a betting man, I would bet that they're going to find that there was some shenanigans going on with this money. People had big jobs, probably contracts were given to friends and family, and there was just a whole bunch bunch of.
I believe
bad
you, but
things.
when? Like, how long is this going to take before they realize this is where we screwed up? Let's put a.
The mayor needs to
stopper
shut
in
it
that.
down.
Yeah, we need to shut the mayor down. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, I'll let you say that. but-
I did say that, but I mean, I gotta say that she's just not. She's not an actor. She doesn't. I don't mean that as in show business. She doesn't act. She kind of reacts, and her reactions have not been great.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just.
I tell you, we saw the effect of it with the fire.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's just.
She had a mic in her face and was like, my 4-year-old wouldn't answer a question, and you pretend you're hiding by looking the other way. That's not a hiding spot.
Right.
Answer.
Yeah. That was
Even
an-
if the answer is wrong.
It was a terrible moment.
A few terrible moments.
But it said everything.
It did.
She didn't say anything, but it said everything.
So, but you're against the recall.
I'm against the recall because we've got a city that is $1 billion over budget. It would cost the city about $30 million to do the recall. And if the recall is successful, it's going to be months away from the June primary anyway. So save the $30 million and wait for the June vote. There's going to be a vote, and it won't cost $30 million of taxpayers' money. I'd rather take the $30 million, put it in the school system. Get the schools in the Palisades and Altadena reopened quicker so kids are off of Zoom. We have 3,000 high school students in the Palisades that are back on Zoom that were on their Zoom 6 years ago because of COVID. Now they're back on it again. And I've been leaning on LAUSD, reopen Pali High.
It didn't burn?
Part of it burned, cleaned it up. They asked for my help in getting the Army Corps to expedite the cleaning. We did that, cleaned up. They can now move in mobile classrooms for the part that was burned down. The rest of it is fine. Get the kids back together because.
And what is the holdup?
Is it because it's not safe?
No, it is safe. The area has been cleaned. I couldn't tell you what the holdup is. It's the most frustrating conversation I've ever had with people. And this gets back to, I think everybody that's an elected official or appointed official has to have real clarity on what your job is. And the job at everybody over at the school district is to have kids in the classroom being educated at the best level possible.
And we have California has one of the lowest levels of education.
And spends the
standards.
most money.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're in the lowest half percentile in the country. So I don't know what the holdup is, but I'm going to continue to push it. I appreciate having a platform here to say it because the parents are frustrated. I got a note from a parent this morning. Pali High was damaged, or Pali Elementary was damaged, needs to be rebuilt. They're talking about 4 years. How could it take 4 years?
I thought that they were saying that they were going to take, I build, not like you, but I build, and there's a lot of red tape to go through and a lot of, I thought that after this fire, they were going to say,
They did take away a lot of the regulations after the fire.
Did they?
They-
Did they?
The governor did
Yeah.
lift a lot, and they lifted a bunch in the city. But then you got to go run through that opening, and they're not running through the opening.
What does that mean?
Meaning, like they're saying, the note I got today, the school district is saying it takes 12 months to do a design. It can't take 12 months to
It's
do a design.
because they use certain contractors that the district
That's right.
okays, and instead of being able to go shop it around and find other contractors, like there's specific contractors.
Or are they asking for a specific?
Which is also why it's more expensive because there's no competition and they have to use.
Well, can't your Steadfast people give them a design that's already created?
Well, no, exactly. And we've done this for another project out there. There's so many people that want to help. Architectural firms will say, we'll donate our services to get this going. And we'll get it done in months.
And?
Well, Howie, there is so many excuses. Elected officials and appointed officials, if I talk to the school district, they say the state's holding us up. When we talk to the state says, no, we're not in their way. We're not holding it up. We're going to cut through it. We're staying on them. This is what we're doing in Steadfast. We are literally staying on people. I spent my morning staying on people and solving problems.
Is Steadfast something we can donate to? Or is that
You can donate to Steadfast, and then what we do is we turn around and redonate 100% of that money back out into the community.
Because we'll put it in our.
That would be great. That would be great. Because I'm supporting the cost of operating Steadfast, so I want every dollar that comes in as a donation for the schools, for the parks, for the libraries, churches, synagogues. 100% goes right back out.
Is that specifically Palisades or Altadena too?
Altadena and Malibu. We're helping all the communities.
Howie Mandel here. Turns out your water could be loaded with chlorine, PFAs, and other creepy crawlies that are turning your shower into a horror movie for your skin and hair. But fear not, my friends, because Weddle Water has the ultimate weapon. The Weddle Duo Shower Filter is packed with a special blend of activated carbon and other filtration magic, all designed to make your shower water cleaner, healthier, and dare I say, more enjoyable. For a limited time, use code HOWIE10 for 10% off and free shipping at WeddleWater.com.
Speaking of communities, you know, I don't know how to put this because they made me sign an NDA, but we saw, and I know you were there too. We saw this.
Say whatever you want.
No, this company. No, there's not for you. For the company, there was a company out in Malibu way before the fire that had these homes that were kind of off the grid. Did you not see that? They said that you had looked at it. They were off the grid.
They lied to you.
Oh, are these the one they're sustainable?
Yes.
Members of my team went out and saw that. I did not go out there.
But I'm just thinking they've already created this thing.
Right.
This would be a great opportunity. Right. These were beautiful homes that are off the grid, so they didn't have to be tied into the electric system, the plumbing system, the sewage system.
Right.
You could possibly have a really nice home, basically craned in, dropped, and you'd be living as good, if not better, than you were living in any of these places.
And that's why you need private enterprise to have these solutions. Absolutely.
So I just, you see these things and then nothing happens with them. Let me ask you on a bigger picture. Tariffs.
Yeah.
Yep.
Interesting day today.
What do you think? You're a businessman.
He took them away today.
Well, no, not all of them.
No.
All except for China down to 10%.
Except for China.
Except for China, he raised to 125.
He raised China.
Yeah.
Here's the way I organize it in my brain. I am a complete advocate of the free enterprise system, and so I think there should be free trade globally. Now, I also understand. Okay, maybe that's not realistic, and if you're going to have tariffs, I think reciprocal tariffs are fine. If some country is charging us 10%, we should charge them 10%. I think the goal should be 0, but that's just the way I look at it. I think what's happening here is there's a couple of things. I do not agree with excessive tariffs other than if you're trying to change behavior of a country. And I think what the president is trying to do is change the behavior of China and open up the market so that more manufacturing, especially for critical items that the United States needs, gets manufactured here from a defense standpoint, from a growth standpoint, technology standpoint. I don't agree with the way he did this. I think the damage in the market and the damage to people's 401 retirement was massive. It turned around today a bit, but there's still, I think, $1 trillion of losses in the market alone. So I have a very different style of how I would have gone about this. But
how you will go about it.
How I will go about it. That's a good positive statement. But I don't believe breaking the back of individuals, especially folks who are middle, lower income. They cannot afford more expensive groceries. They cannot afford more expensive products. And that's what we're going to have for a while. The dinner table.
But isn't that the campaign? The whole campaign was you can't afford to live. Look at the price of eggs. Look at the price of everything. Let us take over and it'll be easier. But that's not the case.
It's not the way it's unfolding right now. I think that's right.
But is there a theory where it could have unfolded that way? I
think he would tell you that everything is going to be, which he did say in the news today. I think the president said everything is going to be great by the end of the year. You're going to understand why all this is happening. I hope he's right. Again, it's not the way I would have approached this. If we have a need, which I think we do have a need to change what's going on in China, I agree with that. And you want to impose tariffs in China to change their behavior, that's the excessive tariffs. I get that. But imposing it globally the way it was done, and having the market go completely upside down for the last 4 or 5 days, I don't agree with. But that's his, to your point, that's also his negotiating style, right?
He's a bull in a china shop.
His negotiating style is throw everything up against the wall, see what sticks, create enough chaos that when you pull back, everybody feels relieved, and you start negotiating from there. Now, he may prove that that's going to work.
Hey, listen, regardless of how you voted, you want our president to win. You want the country to do well.
That's right.
Everybody should want
win.
that.
That's right.
So that's what
right.
I want. That's why I wanted you here, just even to tell you personally that I want you to win.
Thank you.
What was I going to talk about? I wanted to talk about, so you won't say that you're going to, I know you said you take every day at a time. So are you looking at the possibility of governor?
I think there's two interesting opportunities. I mean, there's an opportunity in the mayor's race. There's an opportunity in
right
the
now
state.
you would win if she got recalled, but we don't want to spend the $30 million.
But she comes up for re-election in like 14 months anyway, right? And so, again, the timing of the recall doesn't really get you anything. There's no gain to it. But right now, what I've got to do and what I want to do is just stay focused on Steadfast, because I've got time to decide about politics. After summer, my strategy is I want to get this flywheel going of people rebuilding, communities coming back. And once that starts taking off, which I think it will in the next couple of months, then I can devote time to really digging in on the political side. And I think there's an avenue for governor, there's an avenue for mayor, and there's certainly an avenue for staying a private citizen and being an advocate and staying involved. And I'll figure that out.
I'm going to ask you to speculate one more time, though.
Okay.
On Newsom. Do you think that his goal, I know you have a relationship with him, do you think his goal is to run for president or to do something more?
I've never asked Gavin, but it appears so. I think so, sure. Yeah.
How do you feel about, we were talking about education before, and I'm going to jump back to that. How do you feel about the dismantling of the Board of Education?
Department
of Education.
Being the chair of USC and having some involvement in dealing with the federal government, I don't know if I would completely dismantle it, but it has to be completely reinvented. And I do agree with the idea that the state should be responsible for the education system and less being done at the federal government. So, I am an advocate of less government, more local control. I'm an advocate. I think they should break up LA Unified. The district is too big, and I think it's too disconnected from the parents and the students, and it should be more localized so there's more accountability. That's where schools, I think, really thrive. But so I generally agree with dismantling Department of Education, because I did agree with having less government in general.
What about the possible services that they provide? Like they have nothing to do with curriculum, right? The services that comes from the department. What are the services that come from the? You don't want to say?
I think
no, we can't. I mean, I know that the IDEA wouldn't go away, so that we would still get special education funding. It just might be in the form of grant blocks. I think it depends on.
I think the money has to still flow down.
But
for
the
those
Department
programs.
of Education already doesn't do anything with curriculum. So if you don't like the way California is running the education system right now, why would you want to give them more money and say over where it's going if you think that they're messing with the money already, that they're not having it funneled through the schools correctly right now?
Right, but that presumes that the federal government's going to do it better. And obviously the federal government's involved now, and it's not helping.
I presume that the federal government has it earmarked so that it has to be used for Title I funding for these schools, or it has to be used for special education.
Yeah.
Whereas if the district or if the state now has control over it, then they can decide it is not used. This chunk of money is not going to be used for that.
But I agree with you that the funding should still stay earmarked. The question is, do you have to have this massive bureaucracy that's costing billions of dollars to operate in order to do that funding? Can you have a much smaller department that's more focused on critical items, that's holding states accountable without having this massive bureaucracy? So that's where I come from. I would never want to change special education or the needs of the children. I mean, I've got a daughter with hearing loss, and it was massively frustrating in schools, the lack of understanding of somebody with hearing loss. Even at USC, in college, the support systems, they just didn't understand it. So I am a huge advocate of special education for kids that have special needs.
Well, you know what? You are above and beyond even having this kind of surfacey talk with you of somebody that should be in charge. And what can people do? What do you have any? Just the average citizen is well. We're going to check out Steadfast. You can click on that and give to that, and make sure you
and just get involved in your communities
and vote
and vote. And you know, I think about Palisades and Altadena, and I'm trying to push this message everywhere. Get out there, like you were talking about in Malibu. Support these small independent businesses. Support the restaurants. Support the shops. I mean, these people are struggling, and then you think about. I really worry about. We have a whole program to help this, but the thousands and thousands of people that lost their jobs. Everybody that serviced those homes. The gardeners, the housekeepers, the pool people, the mechanic, whatever it is, they're out of work. And that work isn't coming back anytime soon.
It feels
and
like
they don't have a safety net.
It feels like all over our country there's disasters, weather disasters, fire disasters, climate disasters. And I feel that people aren't serviced properly. It's never goes. That doesn't. I've never seen the result after any kind of disaster where people have gone, "Wow, we got taken care of."
I agree with that.
I've never heard that ever.
I agree with that.
And you'd think with FEMA and all these things that are supposedly in place, like once you would have heard, like these are tragedies. It's a loss. We get it.
Yeah.
But how were we not taken care of?
You're right.
We're the best country in the world.
Right.
We have everything at our fingertips, and we just don't take care of ourselves.
Right. But even more so, how could we not be prepared for this?
Especially
at
in
a
LA.
state level and a city level. How did we let?
How did our fire chief get fired for pointing out that the fire engines were in disrepair, that there was not water in the reservoir?
That's right.
That there was no power in the fire hydrant, and then the nerve of our mayor to call her to task and then fire her.
Right.
I thought she did a great job, our fire chief.
Listen, I think the fire department has been underfunded. I know underfunded for so many years. You go back to 1960s, we have basically 2 or 3 times the amount of people in the city of Los Angeles. We have less fire stations. And the calls, I think, are 4, 5, 10 times as much because they keep underfunding and closing stations. And we've got, which we've all seen the pictures of, and I saw it during my campaign, all these fire trucks and equipment mothballed because they don't have the money to have them repaired. It's just ridiculous. So our priorities are wrong in the city.
But that's a fact. So when these facts are brought to bear out in why are we admonishing somebody for being honest?
Yeah, no.
You know, it's just a crazy, crazy world we live in.
I think the problem is you always hear people talk about how high the taxes are in California, and I don't think it's actually how high the taxes are. I think it's the problem is that they don't feel that it's working for them.
100%.
I don't think that people would have an issue with the high taxes if they see that it's making their life better and it's actually working for them. And we had amazing schools everywhere in an education system, and we had a great fire department that's on it, that's funded. So I think that's the main
I travel
problem.
all the time as a comic, and I'm in other states and with an average of $3 and something for gas, and the people are paying affordable taxes. The streets are clean, and they're policed, and people are doing better in other states in school. And everything is better. It's so frustrating.
It's so frustrating. I was down in Miami talking to the mayor of Miami. I said, "How many homeless do you have in Miami?" She said, "We will be down to 0 by the end of the year."
Do they want some of ours?
But
that's terrible.
Right?
I'm sorry.
But isn't that the right direction? And the right direction is.
So what are they doing that we're not doing?
They are building housing, and they have wraparound services. They've invested in the right things, and they get them off the street.
You're telling me Miami has zero? It will be down to zero?
She said we're going to zero. We'll be at zero by the end of the year.
Isn't it also focusing on services so that so that people don't get to that point? Like foster youth, so that we have programs for them when they turn 18 and they're set up for success rather than just letting them slip through the system.
The intervention, no doubt. And that's where your business is so important. The right education, the right opportunities, the ability to get a job. But we're also creating an environment, a region here, where it's so difficult to get a job and it's so expensive to live. The options are very little for people.
So I have a question for education then. If the Department of Education were to be dismantled, which it hasn't yet, and we don't get those funds. Let's say that the funds are not coming to the states. How do we make up those funds? Do you think our property taxes may go up even more in order to just meet this baseline that we're currently at?
Well, here's what I think. I don't know the exact total budget of the state of California. I should. I don't want to quote a number and misquote it. Mm-hmm. But Los Angeles is somewhere around $11 or $12 billion. Mm-hmm. When you have an $11 or $12 billion budget, I would guess that you probably have 10 to 15% of waste. And you can reallocate money, right? I don't think the issue is, do we have enough money? Are we collecting enough taxes? I think we have more than enough money. I think the issue is, are we spending it wisely? Are we efficient with our dollars? Do we have waste that we can get rid of so more dollars goes down to the kids, to the teachers, to the schools, to the parks, to keeping the parks clean and open? Do you know down in Watts, you're not allowed to just use the parks? You have to make appointments to use the parks.
Did not know that.
It's the craziest thing in the world. Do you know the street lights in Watts don't work on Central Avenue?
You know that?
It's crazy.
What are you doing down in Watts at night?
That's where I went to school.
We're going to start
when I did my student
teaching. I mean, this is a big mission that I'm on, just calling out these basic things around the city. How could you not have streetlights working in a district that, if you really want to talk about it, you need streetlights more than anything, because you want to be able to suppress the bad element that likes fighting crime, that likes doing crime at night.
Right.
But we just got our priorities wrong. So I don't think it's a money issue. I think it's the way we're spending
allocating
it.
That's why the key to the fix is good business. We need to do good business.
Yep.
And you do good business. And I would love nothing more than in the future to be able to say, we had a governor on our podcast. And can you imagine if we could say we had a president on our podcast? So
we
for
had
me,
the head of Health and Human Services.
You did?
We did.
We did? Mm-hmm. Oh, RFK. RFK was here.
Yeah, RFK was here.
Really?
Yes, yes, he was here. Yes, I didn't realize that. But this is more.
This is more important.
You're much more impressive. Anyway,
good job.
I can't thank you enough. And whatever it is that you want us to click on or
do you
give
want to
to
show off your YouTube plaque or not today?
I just got a YouTube plaque. I just got a YouTube plaque.
Do you want to offer underwear too?
I have a sponsor here.
Here.
Look,
let me see.
I got a plaque. We got 100,000.
That is fantastic.
I know.
Congratulations.
Normally I wouldn't show that off.
Mm-hmm.
You should
And I have
show
a
that
sponsor, Man-Made Underpants. These are Canadian.
Wow, well.
Do you want a pair?
I don't know.
You don't have to put them on now.
Well, I was gonna
Canada
say,
made, though.
Canada.
I don't think I should be the model.
I'm not asking you to model them.
He just wants you to touch the fabric.
Medium or large?
I'm probably a medium.
Okay. There you go. Look at this.
I don't know. Is
So
that a
modest.
bad thing to say medium?
So modest.
What? You're not dating. You're not dating.
No, I'm not
That's
dating.
okay. No, I'm
Tina's stuck with me.
Yes. So she's
Whether
stuck
she
with a
likes it
medium.
or not.
Oh, in that
Right.
case, you want small?
Oh, hey. Wow, look at that.
This could be the president. Doesn't that feel good?
That does feel good.
Yeah.
A sense of humor is
enjoy
important
it.
for our
Enjoy
leaders.
it.
I'll send you a picture when I'm wearing them tonight.
Oh, that's nice.
Now I'm uncomfortable. Anyway, you're the best. And before you leave, I don't know. We'll stand out there. You wrote a nice song for Rick, didn't you?
I did.
Sonny.
Yeah,
Sonny and the Black Pack wrote you a song. Let's go out and listen to the song.
I love
We're gonna
those guys.
let us walk out there. I want people to subscribe. I want people to comment. I want people to vote. Vote. Let's make this world a better world. Let's end apathy. And I also have another podcast, When a Stranger Calls. And do you want to say anything?
No, I'm just happy to be here. Thanks.
I'm happy you're here too.
Thanks.
All right, let's listen
Thank
to
you, Howie.
Sonny's song. Here, we're coming out, Sonny.
Going to the commons, Calabasas night. Crickets chirping, lights are sparkling, and the moon is bright. Summer breezes washes over me, loving all the Caruso properties. Every time we want to have it all, lunch and shopping, coffee, evolution of a mall. With my family, so much to explore. These are the moments my heart's beating for. These are the moments, oh yeah. These are the moments, yeah, these are the moments, these are the moments, oh yeah. Stopping by the Grove for the holidays. Santa's hanging by his elves are working away. The lights above us shine with vibrant hues, watching the colors dance all over you. Every time we want to have it all, lunch and shopping, coffee, evolution of a mall. With my family, so much to explore. These are the moments my heart's beating for. These are the moments, oh yeah. These are the moments, yeah. These are the moments, these are the moments, oh yeah. I look outside my window and see a bald-headed man. I realize that it is Howie and chase him down as fast as I can. Oh, ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-yeah. Oh, zippity-bitty-bitty-bitty. Oh, oh yeah. These are the moments.
Thank you so much.
Our pleasure. Our pleasure and honor. Thank you so
You
much.
guys got to perform at the Grove one night. Did you do that? Yeah, we'd love to have you. That would be fun. Well, thank you for being at the Commons all the time.
We love the comments. We're there at Promenade, Westlake, we're everywhere. We love you. You love it so much.
Oh,
It was the
well.
first place we went when we moved here. We just moved here from San Francisco about 9-10 months ago now, and
Okay.
Commons was the first, and now it's like our permanent home. You know?
Oh, I
It's,
love it. Anything you need out there, let me know. He knows how to get a hold of me.
All right, we'll do.
Yeah, I mean it too.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you.
That was really special.
Thank you.
You are the best. Thank you. Thank you so much.